Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video we're going to talk getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry, and today we're going to take a look at the cities of Sigmar, and in particular the Phoenicium. In this video we're going to talk about what the Phoenicium gets that's special for a Cities of Sigmar army in Warcry. We'll then take a look at some units we should use to start our Phoenicium army with. We'll then take a look later at some other units we can use to expand upon the initial purchases to expand our Warband out for the Phoenicium, and then finally finish off with 1,000 renowned Warband army list at the end of the video for you to use as some inspiration for creating your own Warband. So with all of that said, you can get all these rules free to download for all the Warbands, or the vast majority of Warbands anyway, on warhammercommunity.com. You can find them in the download section underneath the Warcry header. Now, Cities of Sigmar is a really interesting faction in Warcry, in that all these cities we have, they all share a bunch of troops. So they all use the same troops. They can all use Free Good Guard, they can all use Wildwood Rangers, etc. But you can change up the city you play within them, which I think is really cool. It makes getting into cities a really fun thing in Warcry, because you can use the same models in so many different ways. Now, the Phoenicium in particular, this is an extremely defensive focused city. You have a ton of abilities that remove damage from your fighters and also prevent damage being done to your fighters. You've got a lot of stuff there. You also get rewarded with the ability to perhaps even attack your opponent when models die and get some bonuses for doing that. And your reaction allows you to straight up remove damage points from your fighters before they are even attacked. Really cool at keeping your fighters alive. Like I said, just a ton of really good staying power abilities in this. So with that said, we are going to be looking at units, I think, that generally do offense okay and do defense okay, because we do get bonuses for both things within this city. And so I think finding those mid-range units that can do both jobs well and being able to bolster them one way or the other for whatever job we need them to do is the best thing to do for the Phoenicium. Now, where do we look to begin with the Phoenicium? And I don't think we can look any further than the Sorceress. First of all, we have a really cool quad for all our Mystics, and this can be either the Sorceress or the Sister of the Thorns champion, or indeed we could have this in as well as the Battle Mage, but I think the Sorceress for me, it just takes the cake. She's got that nice movement of 5 there on top of some other things. But the quad is called Golden Mist, where you remove a number of damage points equal to the value of this ability allocated to each friendly fighter within 6 inches of the fighter. So she can just go in the middle and just do a big blast of healing on a quad. It can be really game winning with that amount of healing. Now, next to her, we're going to have Phoenix Guard. Now, we're playing in the Phoenicium, so narratively, having Phoenix Guard is sort of what we want to do, but they also do fit into that role of that mid-range unit. They're neither the best offensive unit in the game, nor the best defensive unit we have available to us, but they do both jobs well. Defense of 4 is solid for 105 renown, and 3 attacks at strength 4, 2-4 on the damage is nice as well. We do get an extra 5 wounds if we choose to go with the Keeper of the Flame, which is the unit champion option, and we get an extra attack on that model as well. Now, the Keeper of the Flame is interesting. I really like him as a secondary character. For a unit champion, he's really solid at. Now, lastly, we have the Flagellants. You have some cool abilities within the Phoenicium rules, one of them being Vengeful Revenant for a double, where a fighter can use this ability only if a friendly fighter has been taken down this battle round. The fighter may make a bonus melee action. So we need something cheap that potentially can be a sacrificial pawn. And for me, that is a Flagellant. Flagellants are dirt cheap. 65 renown will get you toughness 3 and 10 wounds. And 4 attacks at strength 3, 1-3 on the damage isn't too shabby themselves. Like, they have the ability, if you can get the right buffs off on them, to not be really bad, but they are a nice cheap unit and they're going to die, which is important. We don't want to be spending points like the 65 points you could get a Free Good Guard with sword and shield, but he's going to be defense 4 and he's not going to die as easily. We want this model to actually be able to die. But where do we look to next? And for me, I think Demigryph Knights are a really great shout. Like Phoenix Guard, they're a great mid-range unit, and we can use them really nicely to do some damage across the table and have a little bit more speed on the table. Drakespawn Knights are certainly another option you have available to you. They're very, very similar in power to a Demigryph Knight. They are 10 renown cheaper, so if you're struggling for points, you can definitely swap out Demigryph Knights here for Drakespawn Knights and not find too much of a change. Now, the Demigryph Knights, you got 20 wounds on a 5 plus a defense, which is great. And you got 4 attacks at strength 3 to 5 on that damage. So pretty decent damage output as well. They really do fit into that nice mid-range sort of unit we're looking at. Now, alongside them, we are going to need objective holders. And so this is something we're going to need to consider is not all our units we want to be sort of dual purpose. We do maybe want a couple of models within our force that are going to be purely in here for their defensive bonuses. And this is where I really like Longbeards. Longbeards are with the Ancestral Weapons and Gromril Shields in particular. Defense of 5, 12 wounds, they're fantastic objective holders. And I'd arguably say maybe one of the best ones in the Dwarden range, or indeed in Cities of Sigmar. They're definitely competing with Ironbreakers for me, who are 10 renown cheaper, but don't get the 2-4 on the damage, and instead drop down to 1-3, which is quite significant a decrease in damage for 10 renown only. Now, looking into other heroes, an Anointed is of course something you can take a look at. For me, the Anointed, for 20 extra renown on top of the Keeper of Flame, you are going to get an extra 3 wounds in there, and you're also going to get the ability to be 2-5 on your damage rather than 2-4. For me, I don't particularly think the Anointed is awfully worth it, but if you're looking for a cool character model to lead your force, he could definitely be the guy for you. Lastly, the Free Guild General. Pulverizing Strike is a really cool ability where he can get some bonus damage on himself, but he's also got access to the Martial Exemplar rule, which can really be useful for doing some extra melee damage. Now, Martial Exemplar is a triple, and it allows you to add until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the attacks, characteristic of melee actions made by visible friendly fighters within them, within 9 inch of this particular fighter. And you can only use this ability if they've taken down an enemy fighter though. So he does have some cool abilities to play around with. And so here we have our sample Warband. We've gone with the Sorceress, she's going to be our champion, and I've gone with a Warden of Flame as our second leader for the unit. Like I said, I just think for the renown we're saving here, this is meaning we're getting, the 20 renown we're saving here means we're getting Longbeards in the actual list rather than Ironbreakers, which I think is a big change. Those Longbeards with Ancestral Weapons and Gromril Shields, the fact they can do some damage and also be absolute tanks for us is really nice. Now, 3 Phoenix Guard are definitely going to be mainstay pieces within the force. They're able to do both defensive and offensive roles, though they definitely don't do the defensive roles as good as the Longbeards can here, which are really going to be vital for holding objectives and grabbing treasure. The Flagellant is definitely there for a nice sacrificial piece. Use that nicely along with your Phoenix Guard or the Demigryph Knight we've packed into the force to get off some of those bonus attack rounds. Could be really nice. The Demigryph Knight provides nice versatility to the force, giving you some extra movement as well as a decent fighting and defensive piece. 1,000 out of 1,000 renown has been spent on this warband. Like I said, there's definitely some ways you can play around and get other models. If you want that anointed, you can drop both the Longbeards down to Ironbreakers and you can easily get in that anointed. And you can even spare some points if you want to go into a Drakespawn Knight instead of a Demigryph Knight. You can find yourself an extra 10 points there. 117 wounds on the table with a good amount of defense. This is on the low end of the average scale, even slightly below average, but pretty solid warband all round. What do you think of the Phoenicium? Let us know down in the comments below. That's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, drop us a comment down below in the comment section and let us know what you enjoyed about the video and what you'd like to see more of on the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here we have at Sinful Gaming, you can do so on our Discord server, which is linked in the video's description. Also linked in the video's description is our Patreon and YouTube members where you can go to help support the channel and allow us to keep doing what we're doing. As a special thank you to our Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, Soren, Greenskins Gaming, Kenny Lauer, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ant, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek and Giappi390, and to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, and Monty's Tabletop Terrain. And lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Thank you all for watching. Once again, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now, everyone.